Man, I was doing the exact same thing you were doing with grinding it, dude. I moved to town. It's been 11 years now, and I started playing at Tootsie's, and I'm the only dude, like, pretty much in history who's played it that much. I started out and played 4 shows a day, the 4-hour piece thing, every single day for the first 365. And then that was when I kind of got my first little break in town, which turned out not to be that big of a break, but it was.
Hell, if you were playing at Tootsie's, you had a break.
Yeah, right.
I couldn't make. I mean, I was playing with me and David Lee Murphy and Mark D. Sanders were playing at the Springwater for nothing. You know, just to have a place that we could bang on our guitar. Sure. Yeah.
Me and David Lee are from the same area in the United States. We were just across the river from each other.
How much would you make in tips at Tootsie's?
Man, I made. Do you ever heard of a drummer named Herb Schuker?
Yeah, but I don't know him.
Man, he played for like Randy Travis for years.
Yeah,
you've seen him out on the road.
Yeah.
Long story short, he's been around town forever. But he told me the other night at the airport, he said, "Man, I made the most tips ever with you. We made like $4,700 one night, which was
really,
which is yeah, a lot of baby road acts ain't making that, you know."
No kidding.
So we were making that in tips, and then
$4,700.
Yeah, that was the most I ever made there in one night. But then you split it between, at that point, you're not the artist; you're just part of the group.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
I mean, there must have been some drunk guy who wanted to hear Sweet Home Alabama like 10 times in a row or something for $100 a pop. Or
every Waylon song they could pick and that kind of thing. And you just learn how to be a hustler. I mean,
yeah.
Which I became a hustler down there. But I mean, I left there a lot of nights with no money.
For me, I remember in New Orleans, I had a drunk one night who wanted to hear Redneck Mother. And I'd kick it off. He was born in Alabama. And he'd come walking up. No, play Redneck Mother. And he'd put another $100 in. She was born in Oklahoma. No. About $900 in. I was playing. It was
Great.
Redneck Mother every time. About the ninth trip, his buddies drug him.
Great.
They're like, okay, that was cool.
Great. That's what I like.
Yeah.
I was the same way, man.
We've had a lot of songs recorded, but I'm assuming you've always kind of had the artist bug.
Yeah, I mean, I moved here to be
most songwriters.
Yeah, I mean, I moved here to be a famous singer.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, which I found out quick is like, you don't get famous right off the bat. Now, right after Tootsie's, everything kind of happened in a snowball effect quickly. Playing in Tootsie's, I was getting all kinds of fire hazard codes and everything. Downtown, I was packing it so much with locals that they were shutting it down. They didn't have it anywhere for tourists, and so that was catching Music Row's eye. So I was getting a lot of record deal offers and things, which I thought I'll just take the first one I can get, and I did. I took the first one I could get back when Mark Wright and Grady were running Sony, and they offered me a deal. They flew me to New York for the CMAs, put me at the piano with George Strait and the whole deal at this some kind of party. And I was in this whirlwind of like straight out of bars, straight into hanging out with stars, And so I didn't really know how to handle it. And as I was going to sign my first record deal, I was literally in the car, dressed up, going over to sign at Sony. And that's when the merger happened over there. And Grady's and the BMG thing folded up, and my deal was no longer. So I didn't even get it signed. I already told everybody I got a record deal, and like, you know the deal. I mean, so it was like, wow.
Yeah.
So that was my first shot in the foot. And then I got a publishing deal. I started writing songs. I was writing, at that point, I thought I was just going to be still a famous singer. So I was writing everything for me and writing a bunch of just straight crap. I mean, nothing was good. I mean, honestly, you couldn't have pitched any of it because none of it was commercially viable for anybody else. It was strictly what I wanted to say kind of thing. And I was young and impressionable. So I wrote for that publisher for some good amount of years, and I was tooling around town and got offered a couple tours, went on tour with Hank Williams and Leonard Skinner, and kept my artist thing. I was like just doing it and grinding it, and no longer in Tootsie's, thank God. So I thought I'd kind of made it, I certainly acted like I had made it, which I shouldn't have been. But so then, you get offers and you get these record deals that continue to not get signed and continue to fall apart before the door gets opened fully. And everything just sort of snowballed into, I got free and clear probably, I don't know, 2009. And then I got offered a deal from Galani and at B&A, and it was a solid deal, and I did it. And then a couple months into that, I'm still writing songs for myself. A couple months into that, then he exited, and then I was stuck on another label without a president. So then I thought, well, there was my first big shot. Put a single out, and it was like most added and this whole deal, and then that all happened, and I was just kind of sitting there and ended up asking off the label and thought, I'm just going to write songs for full time. Then my songwriting journey began, really, and I started, I had a new wife, a new family, and I needed to make some money, so I put my nose to the grindstone and wrote songs hard for the first couple years. I mean, like 2 and 3 and 4 a day.
What's a turning point for you as a songwriter? What did you do different that made those songs successful?
Had some babies. Had some kids. I mean, honestly, that was number one. And number two, I got a great wife who, when you're a man, you're supposed to be the provider and the worker. And at that point, I had my stuff together. I owned a farm, and I was doing okay. Just piddling around doing the low budget thing. But I needed to step it up, and that was really my biggest inspiration behind it. And no matter what the subject matter of the songs, I figured would be from that point on, I just needed to try to write hits like my peers were doing, like my songwriter buddies, like David Lee Murphy was doing, and the guys I was kind of running around with,
What clicks for you, though, as a writer, what is it that you're seeing in other songs where you go, I'm not doing that, and if I don't start doing that, my songs aren't going to get recorded?
Melodies, honestly, I not to throw his name up again, but David Lee is a good example of a great hit songwriter. I mean, starting from Back on Dust on the Bottle, I mean, if you don't even listen to the lyrics, which it's kind of over some people's head even, because they're kind of serious lyrics, the melodies, they just kill me. And so I really had to learn that, because I come from kind of a old school bluesy rock and roll kind of atmosphere, growing up on the Mississippi River, as did he. And so something I had to do was just try to get that quote radio feel, if you will. And I had to learn to do it. And I learned that from Nashville songwriters. I learned it from him. I learned it from Clausen. I learned it from these guys who are real pros and don't want to do anything else but write songs at this point in their life.
Sonny Throckmorton told me the same thing one time. Puddin', I kicked their ass with some melodies. I don't know if you know who Sonny is, but he wrote The Way I Am and Middle-Aged Crazy and all those songs. And he said, I'm saying the same thing everybody else is, but I kick their ass with some melodies.
Now see, when I pick up a guitar naturally, I tune down into low D, and I naturally write in a Dean Dillon direction. Like, that's where I go, And so I just had to, and those are hits to their own credit, and there's a place for those. But to make that immediate money is what I was needing at that point in my life. I needed to get into that funnel, and that's what I did. And so my first hit came with Tim McGraw's Truck Yeah, and that was a big song, and big song for me and good for my family at the time, and exactly what we needed. And I believe God blesses you, man, when you just really put forth the effort. So
what's the most excited you've ever gotten about a song that someone else has recorded?
Oh gosh, recently, a song called Messin' with Jesus. I actually wrote it with my wife out there in the studio, and we were pitching this song, and I really wanted McGraw to cut it like real bad. And at this point, like, you gotta understand, like, we're in the recent days we've become pals, but before, like, even Truck Yeah, he didn't know who I was, and I didn't know him, and he wouldn't have known me from Adam. I thanked him one time, and he didn't even know who I was, which is cool. It's cool, because he didn't put two and two together. But I wrote this song called "Messin' with Jesus" with Kelly, and somebody had said to her, like, "Are y'all done having babies?" Because we had 4 kids, and she said, "Oh, Chris, he don't want to go messing with Jesus now. We're not gonna, we don't want to do that preventative maintenance, so to speak." So I said, which is, and then we kind of coined that. She brought that phrase into it, right? And I was like, wow. And she wanted to, kind of go a little bit, soft with it. And man, I wanted to go like drop D hard with it. So we wrote that tune, and I was trying to get McGraw to cut it, kind of get him cut it. I heard he loved it. Ended up never getting cut. And so I thought, well, I'm gonna cut that thing. So I recorded on my new album that comes out actually October 30th, and I just called up Byron, who produces Tim, produces me too, and just straight up said, hey, do you think McGraw would do this? And he put the word to him, and he said, heck yeah, I'd do it. So we did a duet.
Oh, cool.
On this new record, and that's the most fired up I've gotten about one, I think.
That's great.
And
great.
But I got to tell you, there's another one too that I wrote on the new McGraw album, and not to keep Tim McGraw on it, but he's given me a good body of work. There's a song that I wrote just for me. Like, I wrote it just because I really wanted to. I just had to write the song, and it's called "That's How I'll Always Be." It's a song about myself. I wrote it with a couple pals of mine. We didn't really have anything going on that day, and it just kind of came out. And it's like a Tom T. Hall, it's kind of like a Gentle on My Mind almost kind of thing, and it's just a real songwriter song.
Cool.
Something you'd get an award for and be proud of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And he recorded on this album, on his new album. So.
Cool. So what about Buy Me a Boat? Where'd that come from?
Oh gosh. So I walked into my co-write with Chris Dubois. And, man, it was really simple. He was like, what do you got today? And I said, nothing. And it was one of, you get songwriting on the row. It's like, sometimes it gets so darn repetitive that you just burn out. And I mean, I was kind of at that point, and he was too. And it was Friday, so we ordered some Jimmy John's, and we're just kind of sitting over there talking. And I was about to head up and leave, and he wasn't. And he said, I got this title called Buy You a Boat. And I said, buy me a boat? And asking him the question, and we just kind of stopped right there because it kind of had a ring to it. And I said, I have no idea how we'd write that, but here goes. And I write on a little gut string guitar, and I just tuned it down as usual, started playing the melody and talking about just literally rapping things that I live by. My truck has a Yeti in the back, so I thought, well, that's a natural fit. I'm not rich, but I'd like to be. Yeah, maybe, I don't, more money, more problems, but, so everything just kind of snowballed. Now, I'm not really a boat guy, but, I can appreciate them. And, we rent them every now and again in the summer. Well, we used to rent them when we had time to go on a boat in the summertime, but, we just started throwing things together that sounded cool. And I got done, man, and I really loved it. I mean, I just thought this is really cool. And it was kind of for me, it was kind of a personal, as a songwriter, and by the way, I was writing it as a songwriter, not writing it as an artist. I was writing it just to try to get us a hit.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, this kind of has a Hank Jr. country state of mind kind of feel to it. I love that. That's what I wanted out of this. And so we'll see what happens. Maybe Blake Shelton will cut it.
Right.
You never know. And I remember I took it home, and Kelly was like, wow, that's a hit. And you got to get music out to your fans. At this, we've been touring for years, and so never stopped being an artist. Just was having a lot of fun songwriting. But got to get some songs out to your fans, and they've been waiting too long, and we decided to put that one out, and pretty much all she wrote, man. I mean, honestly, it was an independent release, and now it's a #1 song and a gold record, and a record deal signed up, and it really blew up quick.
So what about the boat? Surely somebody's come out of the woodworks and given you a boat.
You would think so, right?
Huh?
Can you believe that?
Are you kidding?
Nobody has given me a boat. Nobody, a couple people are like, oh, we want to do this boat deal with you.
Yeah.
And then, it's like these truck deals that these young artists get around town. They tell everybody they got a big fancy jacked up truck, and then the minute they don't have like the nth of success that they did a week ago, then they got to get that truck back. And so it was one of those, you take the boat till you get, quote, tired of it, and then you want a new one. I don't do that. I'm old school. I grew up with no money. I grew up that if you have it titled to your name, it's yours. You can do what you want with it. If I want to dent the bedside of my pickup truck today, I can do it because I own the truck. So that's pretty cool. And that's just kind of the way I was raised. So I didn't do a boat deal like that. If somebody wants to give me a boat, I'm going to say it right now, they can give me a boat. Somebody did. I did do a truck deal, and I do own the truck. That was the only way I would do it. I didn't want to do this lease to be a star thing.
Cool. I got one of those, but I can't believe I've got Stratus gave me and Ronnie each a boat. But I mean, we didn't have a Buy Me a Boat hit song. That's wrong, man. And I saw you said somewhere, you got to buy diapers, You're much more concerned with stuff like, which I get.
Hey.
But I can't believe I just said, he is lying. There is no way somebody hadn't given him a boat yet.
I swear. Nope. I was buying Yeti coolers before I wrote the song about it, hence why it's in the song.
Yeti give you a cooler?
Yeah, they did. They
well,
sent some
cool.
cool. That's cool.
I actually won one recently.
You did?
Yeah, in a raffle. I think I bought like $400 worth of raffle tickets. And,
well,
and I
you
won.
paid the exact. You basically bought one from the store then.
I think I saw you in Bass Pro a couple of weeks ago. Were you in there 2 or 3 weeks ago? I was getting a spot and scope for my farm, and I think you were standing there at the counter, like where the glass
where the rangefinders are.
Yeah,
with my father-in-law.
Okay, yeah, that was you. But I wasn't sure, and I hate to go, hey, dude, are you Chris?
Oh, I wish you would have.
Well, I know, but what if it wasn't you? And
well, then
like,
you just be like, never mind.
I know. It's like, oh, sorry. It's just, how it is. When
You're not Chris Janson. I'm not Kickstarter. Have a great day.
I know. It's like we never really spent any time together. So I'm like, I've seen your picture though. I think that's him. But
well, the first time I met you, dude, I knew I was gonna like you because you had a Drake waterfowl shirt on. And
oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was on my way to kill something.
And that's all I wear outside of and you understand this. That's I always make a joke about it. But that's all I wear outside of artist dressing. So country boys got a real life too. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you should have said something. I was buying a rangefinder that day because they were on sale, and I love to hunt, so that's pretty much.
Well, you were working the guy with your receipt because something had happened and you didn't have your coupon with you, or something like that.
Well, I brought the book, but it was 18 hours old, expired, right? Because they do those deals, like if you get there in a certain exact time.
Thinking that can't be him because he's got him a big hit song. Surely he's not working this guy.
Oh, I'm as cheap as they come, buddy. I'm tightwad now. Songs only pay so much, and so I've got a big family support and a lot of things. I've never been one to just go blowing money. I don't care if it's a $200 rangefinder. That's a lot of money, buddy. Yeah. I mean, I can remember filling up diesel trucks, which I drive a diesel now. I can remember filling one up for like $10, and I grew up in an area where when gas hit $1 and diesel hit 99 cents, man, like farmers were complaining. So I still live by those standards no matter what, and it don't matter how big you get or how big you don't get or whatever, how many hit songs you got. I want to raise my kids like that too.
Yeah, of course. And
money is something you got to save.
That's my standard answer too. I was poor too long.
Yeah, poor. Dang right, man. So getting a $200 rangefinder, if I can get $5 off of it, I'm gonna get $5 off of it.
So you're gonna go out with Blake?
Yes.
You know Blake at all?
I do know Blake a little bit. We got some history. Yeah.
So that ought to be fun.
Mm-hmm. We don't know each other like on a personal note, but I think if he saw me, we would probably know each other. So that will be fun. I love Boys Around Here. That's one of my favorite favorite tunes. So, and he cuts great songs. He's got a history of cutting great songs.
He does. He does.
I was wanting, back before Buy Me a Boat took off in a big way. The first thought in my mind was maybe Blake Shelton would want this song. I don't know.
What would you expect being on tour with Blake would be like?
Oh, probably wild. I mean, well, you know what? I don't know. Maybe not, because a lot of the guys who seem like wild as a buck on television are not that way in real life. Like,
he's not that crazy.
He's
a lot of fun.
I spent 3 years hunting with Hank Williams Jr., and you think Rowdy Rockin' Randall, and that dude's like, put me in a dove field and sit me down somewhere and don't talk. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm that way. I'm that way. I'm the same guy on stage, but I'm also, when it's like, when the key's turned off, man, it's time to go to the deer stand. So I would expect I'd say we probably get along good. I mean, we both just kind of do our own thing,
You'll have fun. Tell him I said hi. Thanks for coming in. Keep rocking it, dude.
Dude, I love this. Thank you so much.
You got it.